So Star City 2040, guys, that was a really cool episode. I really enjoyed it. It showed us and explained a lot of things that I feel like we've been trying to figure out all season long. And to be honest, it only intrigues us even further into what they're going to do with this future Arrow storyline. So let's break this episode down. What is up, Vigilantes? Welcome to a brand new Arrow Season 7 Episode 16 review. Now, this is for the episode titled, well, Star City 2040, because most of it was, all of it, apart from that very ending scene, took place in Star City 2040. Now, this episode I enjoyed more than what I thought I would. Now, I didn't go into it thinking, this episode is going to suck or anything. I was actually quite excited in terms of what we were going to find out. But if there's one thing you guys may know about me, if you've been watching my Arrow videos for quite a while, is that I'm not the biggest advocate for these flash forward scenes, even though I find them intriguing. Sometimes they've gone a bit off, the wagon every now and again, but like for the most part, I would say the majority of the audience enjoys them. But there are some of us who think that this is problematic for the show for a whole list of reasons, and this is not hating, it's just like criticizing the flaws that come along with it, but it does have many advantages as well, and I feel like this episode played to those advantages very well. But this episode, there is strong rumors out there that, after Arrow Season 8 ends, and I think Stephen Amell even kind of somewhat teased this, because he said essentially, this is paraphrasing here, don't quote me on this, that, he always liked the idea of like Arrow living on beyond him kind of thing, and I felt like they were trying to talk about those flash forward scenes there. And this isn't like the first time this has been rumored about, that potentially Arrow could continue on, but in like a Star City 2040 plus, spin-off. I just don't know how I feel about that. But let's dive straight into this, and maybe we'll tackle more into that a little bit later. But if you enjoyed this video so far, subscribe to the channel for more discussions and reviews and breakdowns just like this on Arrow and other comic book nerdy shows. And of course, like this video, especially if you're still watching, as it really does help out the video, helps it boost out there on the algorithm. And I really appreciate you guys if you do go ahead and do that. So starting off this episode, we have, of course, Felicity giving birth, to Mia in the cabin, and Oliver's there. This, I guess is going to be maybe the tail end, or like, just before Crisis on Infinite Earths happened. Either way, this was like a nice little moment. But what I loved immediately after that was, goddamn, Nyssa. I think this is what started off the episode to a really strong start. It would have been cool if we got a bit more from Nyssa, like at least a line, but we didn't. But I don't want to shit on that. What I want to say is that this was really badass seeing Mia training in this kind of montage. Now, I can completely understand why Felicity would do this. The whole premise surrounding why they are where they are, if anyone knew who your father was, all that kind of jazz. So I get why she'd want to train her daughter, but also this provides the context of why she truly is, she is Oliver Queen's legacy, but she's not only Oliver Queen's legacy and, you're my daughter and carry on my name kind of thing. She is the freaking future Green Arrow, essentially, and that's what this was spelling out. And as I said, it really is a seed that is being watered in the earth to the viewers here, saying, hey, would you like to see potentially a new Team Arrow show set 20 plus years in the future with Connor Hawke, Mia, and William and all of that stuff? You get where I'm going here. I enjoyed seeing the home life at the cabin shortly after this, where we saw the older Felicity. We saw Mia stumble across Felicity's cave through accidentally, just through hitting the arrow at the right spot on that photo and moving the arrowhead, the tail of the arrow, and it opens the door, whatever. She finds Felicity's cave, right? This was pretty cool, because Felicity, even though, the vigilante thing is very much so a touchy subject for Mia, which is, it should be a meme if it isn't already at this point, because one thing I kind of find a bit annoying about her character is that as soon as vigilante or a vigilante or anything to do with it, it's like, what? Vigilantes? Do you know what I mean? It's just a bit... I do get, and I will say at the very, very, very end of this episode, they completely justified that. But it's just, throughout the time she's been on the show in the flash forward scenes, like, they show this other side to her, and then as soon as a vigilante or a father, or like how vigilantes ruin Star City or something like that, she just goes freak out mode. And I don't know if I believe the way she just flips personality switches just like that whenever that is mentioned. But anyway, Felicity's hacking again. I get it. She's still fighting a good fight while she still can, doing her bit. But it sounds hypocritical to me. But she thinks that that vigilantes are like the opposite of heroes. And that's when, you know, Felicity did point out, come on, you know, that's propaganda. So once again, you know, the start of this episode intrigues me, and what is the consistent intriguement of the flash forward scenes is what the heck happens for Star City, a whole city as they put it themselves in this episode, paraphrase again, to turn against you. That must suck, right? And everything Oliver's worked for, this is one thing I keep saying is a shame, but is also intriguing. After everything Oliver is doing, and he's going to sacrifice himself or whatever the hell happens to him in Crisis, doesn't matter, goes to shit. We had that scene with William and Mia climbing the wall. William's definitely not cut out for this. And the reason why I mention this again is just because, you know, they mention vigilantes again, and this is just more to my point of Mia just freaking out. But I like how William pointed out how, you know, they're not the criminals that she thinks they are. And I just feel like, I don't know, I said that end conversation kind of justifies her point of view, but I still feel like she shouldn't be that naive. Like, come on. You've lived with your mother your whole life, and just because you read a few news stories when you left the cabin, I don't know, man. I just don't know if I buy how triggered she is every single time. It just feels like insert writing here, so she does that on the screen. Do you know what I mean? I do get it, but it's just, I feel like a little bit overplayed. Anyway, as we've seen before, the Glades looks completely different to Star City. Almost unrealistically so. Sure, you could, like, say every time they've been in Star City, they've just done it at night, so it looks different. But, like, the sky is completely different. Even though there's a wall there, it's not like Mordor in Lord of the Rings, where it's dark cloud and everywhere else is sunny and bright. But that's the way they show it, and I do get it. Like, the Glades is meant to be the nice place, a town. Anyway, this is when Mia and William are trying to infiltrate that building, and then that's when Agent Hawk saves the day. The interesting thing that I find about this part in the episode is that when Mia and Connor Hawk were like talking, and Mia's just kind of like, was any of it real? It's just like everything he said, or was there more to it than that? What I'm trying to say is, like, do they have this romantic connection? I definitely feel like they were spelling that out. Obviously, you know, he's been there for her, and, you know, everything he's told her, like, Mia could be like, oh, was everything you said a lie? But it's like the way she put it was any of it real? It just makes me think, so there's a little romance between Connor Hawk and Mia in the future, and also the future scenes in this episode kind of vibed that as well. I also really like that scene between Renee, you know, Maya Renee or whatever, and then we had Dinah, Zoe, and Roy. It was just really interesting, the scene. Like, Roy seemed really shook when he saw Renee. I mean, sure, it could just be like, long time no see. He was like, I thought you were dead. But Roy just, I don't know, something in his eyes, they seem to be, I don't know, something seemed to have happened, and this is the big mystery, right? What exactly went down, and how did it go down the way it did? Sure, it has something majorly to do with the Archer program, and that's what they set up at the end of this episode, but, you know, there's other things as well that we're missing the dots to, that we can't completely line up, and so stuff like that between Roy and Renee and stuff like that was very interesting. But, you know, when Renee was talking about the Star City Reformation Project, it just reminded me of Malcolm Merlin in, like, season 1, like, Renee, how off could you be? And that's what they were trying to spell out this whole episode with Renee, is like, with age or something, like Dinah said, you've really got no wisdom or something. But anyway, let's talk about the bit where they find Felicity locked up in that building. So this was like a really, really cool scene, and that is when Mia goes ham. I mean, so does Connor Hawk. This was a really cool scene. You know, just when you see Mia like this, you do believe completely that she is Oliver's daughter, granted with no experience beyond her training and wisdom, and just, you know, all the journey that Oliver has taken since he was killing people on rooftops in season 1. You know, I do see that interest in, you know, going back to the Star City 2040 plus show, you know, potentially Arrow spin-off show happening. You know, I do see it a bit. But, you know, it was really cool seeing William reunite with Felicity again for the first time in years, you know, and how Felicity said being a hero. And this, I felt like maybe this wasn't deliberate, maybe this is just what I'm connecting to it, but when Felicity said that line about, you know, when Mia was getting pretty triggered that Felicity wanted to keep helping out, and that's when Felicity said this line, being a hero means choosing other people's safety above your own, including your, like, own family. And you could argue that, you know, that is kind of, she learned that maybe from Oliver's death. Like, and Felicity's been annoyed about this in previous Arrow seasons, you know, when Oliver sacrifices himself and it's like, you didn't think about me, you didn't think about the family. But that is when she says this line in 2040, and it's just like, maybe she's talking about when Oliver sacrifices himself for other people in Crisis, even above his own family. Like, it's just what he had to do. And he's not here anymore. but that doesn't mean that it was the wrong decision. It just means that he was a hero, and that's what Felicity is doing now, and that's what she's trying to teach her daughter. So that's what I took out of that scene, and that's why I really like that. One thing I will have to say about Felicity in this episode, though, is that I thought the makeup was pretty good, actually. I thought that was pretty cool, but she didn't keep her voice consistent. It was only a few times in the episode, but obviously she put like a deeper Felicity voice on like that to make her seem a little bit older. But there were other times where she was just on the tablet when they were getting moving towards the end of the episode, doing this, that, and the other, where she was just talking like normal Felicity in present day, quirky, this, that, and the other. Didn't sound anything like her old voice approach. I just felt like she broke that character a couple of times, but that's just me. If you go back and watch it, you might know what I mean at those points, but it's not like I have a timestamp from the top of my head. Of course, going back to Connor Hawke and Mia, I like that discussion between, being raised with parents. This isn't the first time in the show they've talked about this, with just even these characters. And what do I mean raised by parents? Raised by parents who are heroes. So Connor Hawke was saying how he asked Diggle all the time why he adopted him, if, mum and dad were never going to be around, but he understood it. So talking about the other conversations in the show like this that have happened are of that between William. I can't remember the exact one, but he understands why Dad is the way he is, the Green Arrow. So I felt like when he was trying to convey this to Mia, he was just trying to make her understand why Felicity is doing what she was doing, because obviously at this point in the episode, she was like, well, I'm not going to help you, but then she does. This is the thing I find about Mia, and I've mentioned in my reviews. It's like, oh, I'm going to rage off, and then it's like, okay, I'm coming. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like that. And it's just like, I guess they're trying to paint her off as like young, naive, doesn't know all the facts, so is quite impulsive with her emotions maybe. But I don't know. Also, shout out to Connor Hawke for the Spider-Man quote. Yeah, that was pretty funny. And talking about even more reuniting, this is, what I love this episode for, and I think was the most fascinating, strong thing about it is, we've been having tidbits throughout the season of the flash forwards, but this whole episode was full of it. So we were waiting for those opportunities where, Felicity would meet William and blah, blah, blah after many years. And now we get original Team Arrow back together. So, Felicity meets Zoe, Dinah, and Roy again. So that was really nice to see. She explains how she had to be the calculator to infiltrate Eden Core. And she also says something that we've spoke about briefly before as well, and how, oh, sorry for not telling you about her, by the way, because a few episodes back, Dinah was like, oh, I knew Oliver and Felicity had a kid, but maybe she thought something happened to them. Renee was just like, wait, you have a kid? And yeah, so it's like Oliver and Felicity, by the time season 8 kind of comes around, or, it's like they're going to obviously go away through Felicity's Archer program, probably causing a load of shit or something. I could be wrong about that. So they have the baby. And I'm guessing by this point, Team Arrow had fractured. They had all gone their own ways. It's the only way they might not know about Mia being alive. I guess people like Dinah must have assumed that the kid died in childbirth or something like that, or like was stillborn or something. I don't know. But anyway, this is when we had the festival part of the episode, right towards the end now. This was really, really cool. Like, those masks just kind of reminded me of like a Court of Owlsy kind of thing. Like, that's just probably me thinking way too much Batman there. This is where they were after that guy. The guy who's been seeing, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the guy's been seeing Renee this whole time. He's been pulling his strings, who is really a part of Eden Core, but known as Galaxy or whatever. So this is where Mia, this is what I mean. I see like Oliver's badassery in her. And this is what I can tell the show is really trying to push forward and really wanting you guys to buy, just in case they are doing that spin-off show, is that she takes on like 10 armed guards. And I literally wrote in my notes here saying this episode is really setting up Oliver's legacy show. I feel like it really is. I mean, that we've been over this. Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below, by the way. I'd really love to hear what you guys think about that possibility. But anyway, this is where we got that tease at the end of the episode, for this helmet that, it will essentially take the Archer program global or something like that and eliminate all vigilantes for good. So I'm guessing this is some kind of helmet that's going to be rolled out to multiple grunts, and they'll be able to like F vigilantes over and really exterminate the threat. We're gonna have to wait and see where that goes. I thought it was okay tease for whatever's happening, but I was like, okay, see where that goes. And then at the very end, as I said, we had that Mia and Felicity talk. Puts a lot of Mia's characteristics into like one kind of file and one folder, so it makes sense. But that doesn't mean that I still buy all the time she has flipped out. It felt like kind of a bit forced almost. But the excuses were really good. She said she read up old stories about how vigilantes destroyed Star City. So she literally thought that her mother must have lied about her whole childhood, thinking that her mum and dad, or like the heroism of Team Arrow, was completely false, and that your mum and dad were quite literally kind of terrorists. And your whole life, your parents, or should I say your mother, has been painting herself as the good guy or the good girl, whatever. Do you know what I mean? So she really, really hated her mum for that. Imagine thinking your mum's a terrorist and you've been living in this bubble your whole life. So I get that. But I guess I just still don't believe it, despite all that she wouldn't know that her father was good, the Green Arrow and all of this stuff. But, you know, as Felicity planted, there was a lot of propaganda and things like that. They really tried to discredit vigilantes and all the help that they've done for the city and stuff like that. But I just guess I would have thought that maybe there would have been more to it. Maybe more stuff for Mia to believe in, but I guess not. But you know, that was, I think, basically the episode, guys. I mean, of course, we had that last scene with Felicity creating the Archer program, basically foreshadowing the downfall of everything from here on out. You know, it's just a little baby right now, but you know, yeah, you guys get what I'm saying about that. So cool episode. I know this has been quite a bit of a long review. I enjoyed it quite a lot. It was really cool that they decided to do one whole episode to kind of really jump things forward in the flash forward episodes. I guess where I'm left with my thoughts is, where is this going to go? Is there massive building blocks here for another show for you guys? Let me know down in the comments below, and let me know your thoughts on all of my ideas and all my, I don't know, all my opinions on this episode. Do you agree with any of them? Do you disagree with any of them? Let's start a proper conversation. Other than that, everyone, like this video. If you did enjoy it, subscribe for more Arrow videos just like this, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.